Welcome to Scoop Order. Happy Super Bowl Sunday. We are going a little earlier today so that you guys can enjoy the festivities with your family. We're going to talk Chip Kelly. We're going to talk about a five-star safety that we've been trying to talk about for about a week. We're going to take your questions. We're going to have a great show. Crank this thing out because I know today is the biggest day of the year in America for sports television. So I know you guys are going to get settled in. I hope you guys are having a great Super Bowl party, or you're watching it with your family, friends, whoever. Got some food in front of you. I hope you guys have a great day today. So we're going to go a little bit earlier. As always, we appreciate you guys so much for being a part of everything we do. Record-breaking show last night. Seemingly breaking records month over month with the growth of the program. It's all thanks to you guys. Again, the folks, you guys are the absolute best. It's a big show because you guys make it one. As always, tuning in, kicking it. Shout out to Tora. And now we have Devin, who you guys know is Ohio 7715, as two of our moderators, the Legion of Boom, running the show and moderating, kind of just being, just excellent additions to what we do on here. They're huge parts of what they do. So show Tora and Ohio 7715, aka Devin, some love. Appreciate you guys both for all you do. If you guys enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. Again, this show has been incredible. And also shout out to Kevin Miller, our newest Scoop Ultra member, joined during pre-show, which is awesome. So we get a little notification on that. Thank you to all of our Scoop Ultra members. Again, everything we do goes to pay it forward between the Ultras and the Super Chats. And we've signed up a boatload of people this weekend. Signed up a great state trooper today. Shout out, you know who you are. I talked to you today on the phone via text. And it's been a great program, guys. I'm telling you, BuckeyesScoop.com is growing in numbers. We have great people growing, a lot of service people, a lot of retired veterans. It's just awesome. So appreciate you guys, what you guys are doing. If you guys have questions, get the Super Chats fired up. Again, it goes to pay it forward, and you guys are taking care of our troops and our fine police officers. Getting a bunch of those now, too, which we really love. But with that being said, going to bring in Nevada. Nevada, the last few days, my phone has been basically melting because like your phone melted last night. My phone literally melts all day because I get so many calls, texts. The excitement around Chip Kelly is palpable. The impact and the mentorship that he has with Ryan Day is palpable. The fact that, there are UCLA candidates interviewing for the 10th spot, competing with James Laurinaitis. It shows how much Ryan Day thinks of Chip Kelly. That he would interview some guys that he kind of thinks are good candidates. And again, I still feel like James Laurinaitis is going to get that spot. But we'll see. Again, it's a very interesting ordeal right there. But Chip Kelly is one of the most fascinating people in the history of college football. He's an absolute historian of football. Again, I've said it ad nauseum, but don't believe what I think when I'm excited about Chip Kelly. Just believe that Bill Belichick clinics with him, Urban clinics with him, Saban, like the greatest minds in the history of football want to know why this guy does what he does and what's his thought process behind it. So to inject that into the Woody Hayes, a guy that Ryan Day obviously played for, Ryan Day reveres, an incredible relationship there. To have that guy working to run our offense versus Jim Knowles' defense during spring ball is about as good as it gets. But are you still on cloud 9 at Nevada?
No, I think I'm on cloud 11 or something like that because, as you guys know, I talked to a lot of people in the program. I talked to a lot of people in the program, around the program, involved with the program, peripherally involved, directly involved. And I am telling you, I am yet to hear from a single person that is not completely geeked about this hire. And I'm not one. I've not got one person that said to me, well, Nevada, I'm not sure about this. They are all over the moon excited about this hire. And although I have identified one area that I think Chip and Ryan are going to have to kind of figure out on this thing, which is, I know Ryan Day had kind of given the offensive lineman kind of the directive. He wanted him to get a little bigger, maybe add 10 pounds, kind of combat those smaller defenses. But I'm hearing Chip really wants to go fast. So it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of meld that in terms of what they want to do. I think Chip's belief is with the shortened games, with the clock's not stopping for first downs and shortening of offensive plays. When you've got a deep team like Ohio State, you want to have as many offensive plays as possible. And I'm not saying he's going to go blur, but he wants to go fast. So it'll be interesting to see if they back off that thing because Chip's never had big offensive linemen. He's always had offensive linemen that could move, that were more mobile type of guys. And that'll be interesting. But as for the mood around the Woody Hayes, around the program, around parents and staff and players, and Oh man, people are excited. I mean, people are so excited they know that it's going to be something really special. They're excited to be part of something really special. And I just, like I said, peripherally as a guy that has a message board and gets to talk to fans every day, I'm just excited that we get to go through this journey together because it's going to be special. It's going to be something we're going to be talking about for a long time. Is remember when Chip Kelly came to Ohio State and ran the offense? I think it's going to be that legendary, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I totally agree. And again, a lot of the question is, well, why didn't they just hire him in the first place? Why did Bill O'Brien get the first crack? Why did Ryan, whatever? But it's like I just think that the timing wasn't right. I think that Chip Kelly and Martin Jarman, the athletic director, who I know really well from Ohio State, Martin is not a very impressive guy. He's not a very bright guy. He is a guy that I'm shocked as a UCLA. And this isn't me being a hater, but I used to serve on a charity board with him, and like I was never like, wow, that guy's going to be an amazing anything. And so he's your AD, and they're not fundraising well. There's no energy around the program. The stadium's empty. So Chip eventually, he probably sometimes in life you get second chances in life, and he probably was kicking himself that Bill O'Brien got that job. Obviously I'm sure Ryan asked Chip first if he wanted it. He still has the job. He's still in LA. He's in Manhattan Beach, which is God's country, beautiful part of the country. But when he saw what was coming down the pike, and he saw how loaded Ohio State was and the momentum, and frankly, like Ryan Day's fundraising and NIL is something that only we talk about because only we really like understand how good he's doing, and how dynamic he is and how hard he works at it. And Chip's like, so I can make less money, but I get to live in Ohio where the cost of living is like 1/10 of what it is in Los Angeles, and I don't have to do any fundraising anymore. Sign me up. I get to go coach ball. I get to go coach the offense. I've got the most dynamic, most powerful, most talented offense I've ever seen in my room. This is stronger than any Oregon group he's had, anywhere he's been. Obviously, the NFL teams are different because they're just NFL players. But in college, he's never seen anything like this. The depth at tailback with Quinshon Judkins and Trey Henderson. Honestly, the depth at quarterback. I mean, with Will Howard and Devin Brown, through the beginning of winter workouts, and that this does not mean anything, it's a lot closer than most people would believe. Now, again, Will Howard is the guy, got the NIL money, personally recruited, handpicked by Ryan. Ryan's kind of the guy, but, Chip comes in. I mean, he's going to have some say in it. And again, Devin, he's been here longer, so he knows the playbook better than Will Howard. So again, do I fully expect Will Howard to be the starting quarterback? Absolutely. I'd bet a lot of money that he will be the starting quarterback, but I don't think Devin is going to give up his team without a fight. And they're actually pretty close. I mean, they hang out a lot. They do stuff together. So it's not like they're, there's no animosity between the two. And they actually have a great relationship. Because sometimes, like, when you look at, like, Joe Montana, Steve Young, like, they did not like each other. And they still don't like each other. And, so it's not always kosher when two guys are fighting over the same spot. But they do some, they're fighting and they're doing some good stuff. And they start winter workouts this week, which are 6 a.m. workouts. The coaching staff is in place, which I really think Ryan's going to get going on that 10th coach this week. I mean, because winter workouts are starting and you need all hands on deck. You need every coach that's going to be part of your staff there, working with the players, getting to know the players, grinding the players. Because that's every coach, it's every GA, it's every personnel guy. You're all running stations. You're grinding these kids. You're evaluating these kids. Because like even if you're an offensive line GA like I was, like you're still evaluating the linebackers, you're still evaluating the D tackles. Now your evaluation might not have a lot of weight. It's not like I could go to Luke Fickell and say, hey, you should play this guy at linebacker. But, you notice stuff, and you can, if people trust you and they trust your opinion, they'll say, yeah, I think that this guy's really coming on and he's tough. And he had this great rep where he whooped this kid and it was amazing. And, like it doesn't hurt to share that stuff if the position coach trusts you. So he's got to get that 10th coach installed just so that, because that 10th coach has to get familiar with his guys like yesterday, because spring ball starts in 4 weeks. In 4 weeks, you'll blink and it'll be here. So, there's a familiarity thing where whoever that 10th guy is, I assume it's going to be James. If it's James, it'll be optimal. James has been working basically night and day with Jim Knowles and with Matt Gariani to just completely master Jim Knowles' defense. The front seven, the back end of the defense, the coverages, the nuances. Because it's one thing to just know the stuff at a high level. It's an entirely different thing to just master it and just know the granular stuff. Because something about coaching, and this is, again, Urban Meyer was the Steve Jobs of college football. He was an absolute maniacal worker, but he was so brilliant that it was unbelievable. And he said, look, when you're installing this stuff, if a kid asks you a question and you don't know it, you'll lose their trust forever. So you have to know it to the smallest, most granular. Anything they ask you, there's rules and there's concepts, and pretty much anything that can happen, you can pick up and explain easily. Because again, you get nothing out of making some ultra complicated, Manhattan Project type offense or defense, because you have to install it to a kid who's a freshman, who's an 18-year-old, and has different levels of intellect. Frankly, I mean, you have to be able to so that the kid with the least intellect on the entire team has to be able to get it as good as your smartest, your 4.0 guys. So, but I'm so excited about what Chip's going to bring. This offseason is just going to be absolutely incredible on BuckeyesScoop.com. Nevada, who are some of, again, we're not into spring ball, but as we get into the most competitive part of winter conditioning, where these guys are paired off, everything's measured, there's winner loser day, who are some of the guys that you're looking to see shine during winter conditioning?
Well, look, I think, the position battles, we've talked about right tackle, we've talked about that other linebacker spot. Man, I want CJ Hicks to be good more than anybody in the world. I really do. So I want to see him shine. I want to see Sonny Styles. I want to see Gabe Powers. I love Gabe Powers. Zeb Mikulski, which a big fan. George Fitzgerald, or Fitzpatrick rather. I mean, the right tackle spot, it's kind of an enigma, because you talk about these guys, and we've said it so many times. Corey Linsley didn't start a game till his fourth year in the program. So a lot of guys have been here a year or 2 years, and I'm not saying we're writing them off, but I think people forget them. I think they're so used to immediate success that doesn't always come on the line. Not every lineman is Burt Carton and can step in as a redshirt freshman and kind of do his thing. So I think, we've got to be, a little bit more patient with the offensive line, but the right tackle battle and the other linebacker spot, for me, are going to be, just prime concern. I just want to see who steps it up and what they do. I know they're moving Sonny from, say, when Caleb came, Sonny immediately got the ticket to the linebacker room, and that makes sense. That's where he should be. But frankly, and again, I'm going to say something, and probably not going to get met with wild agreement, and that's okay. I just think Sonny's been okay. I don't think Sonny's been great. I think Sonny is a massive physical talent. His dad is one of my all-time favorite players. You see the physical ability, and it's just oozing all over the place. But I want to see the production of the field match all those physical tools, and we haven't even seen a glimpse of it yet. And I want to see that. I want to see that, because I feel like if we don't see it, we'll see it at the next level. We'll see it on Sundays in the NFL, and we'll be like, wow, where was that guy when that was like, Baron Browning. I mean, Baron Browning was okay at Ohio State, and he's gone on to the NFL, and he's really good in the NFL, like really, really, really good. And I want to see this, I fear that Sonny may be a similar type of player, a player that we never see the best of him. And I'm just really hoping that the defensive staff and the coaches can get the best out of him, put him in positions to succeed, because I think he can be a difference maker for the defense. And that's something I'm going to be keeping my eye on. And I just got a text from somebody that said that Bill O'Brien did clean out his office, so he is now officially out.
A week later.
So a week later, I got that from one of the other sites. They said Bill O'Brien has cleaned out his office. So I just wanted to share that with the board.
And like, look, I don't pay, because it's too hard to keep up with what we do already on Buckeye Scoop. But like, I have people that tell me what people say, read what people say, they send me, and I'm like, guys, I don't care. I really don't. Like, I mean, I trust our sources implicitly, and we were right again, and they were wrong. They said, "Oh, this is not true." I'm like, dude, like, yeah, it is. Like, I mean, there's people literally saw him cleaning it out. And again, he just got there, so it's not like when you've lived in a house for 10 years, like when you first move into a house on the first day before the movers get there, like there probably ain't much in there. There's probably some napkins and some, whatever, WD-40, whatever. But I don't know. It's interesting. We're getting a ton of super chats. We're going to start getting through these real quick. Clueless Pat Daddy, thank you for the 10, my friend. I see you have a couple questions down below, but I appreciate you, my friend. As always, thank you for being here. Sloth Nations, my man. I love it. First time being able to make a live show. That's awesome. Yeah, we on the weekends, if there's big football games or something, we usually try to get done early, just because I know that everyone wants to watch the Super Bowl. So, I mean, we're not dumb. We're not going to go at 7 versus the Super Bowl. It's the whole world, the highest rated show in the world. So, we go a little earlier, just kick it and just, kind of get it in and chill a little bit, kick it with Torah, kick it with our boys. So we appreciate you so much. And longtime Scoop subscriber, yes, you have been. You're like a day one guy. So again, our people on BuckeyesScoop.com are the salt of the earth, and they're our inspiration, man. And this show has been great because a lot of you guys have kind of crossed. People from BuckeyesScoop.com have come and watched the show. People that watch the show have joined BuckeyesScoop.com. So it's amazing how the communities are merging, because you really do meet some of the best people in the entire world. And I'm going to do this real quick before I'm going to do AZ King real quick. Please see subscribers only to comment, 20 minutes minimum. I'm not sure what that means, my man. Nevada, please see subscribers only to comment, 20 minutes minimum. Any idea what that means? And AZ King's one of our best guys. So he's trying to help me with something. I'm just trying to decrypt it.
I want to understand that. I don't understand, but try it again, bud. And we'll,
get with Torah and Akeem when you see that. Just let me know. Shoot me a text. Before I go to my next one, I got to say, I had one of the craziest, greatest things of all time today happen on the message board. I'm not going to reveal Helping Hand, but a lot of you guys know who Helping Hand is based on his location, his name, whatever. But I got this message on our board in a thread today. Hey, Kirk, I ran into Orlando Pace here in Las Vegas. Obviously, these are two guys that are Hall of Famers with gold jackets in Canton in Vegas for the Super Bowl. He said your interview with him was probably the best media interview he's ever done. Great respect from the best lineman in college history. Now, mind you, these are my two favorite players in the history of football. I mean, I had both their jerseys as a kid, and I wore their jerseys constantly when I lived in Florida. I was a huge Vikings fan. When the Browns moved, I was like, well, who's my NFL team now that the Browns are gone? And I picked the Vikings because they had Corey Stringer, they had Scotty Graham, they had CeCe, they had Robert Smith. So they had a lot of Buckeyes. So I was like, okay, that's my team now. Because I mean, they had the most Ohio State players, and they had like Corey Stringer's best right tackle in the NFL. CeCe was the second. No one's going to top Rice, but he's right. He's number 2 right behind Rice for me. And then they get Moss and Jake Reed. It was a fun team to watch. Randall McDaniel was a great guard. So I was a big Vikings fan. So, but like for someone like this to say this and to think about, you guys are, I hear so much great feedback about BuckeyesScoop.com. I get it everywhere I go. I get great messages on Facebook, email, Twitter, Instagram. I mean, you guys find me everywhere. And like for two NFL Hall of Famers to be talking about the show that you guys have made so incredible and so successful. Because again, you guys make the show, not us. I mean, this is about what you guys do for us. You guys spread the word of mouth. You guys talk about how fun it is to be a part of the community. But like for these guys to be talking about this at the Super Bowl in Vegas is incredible. And again, it's all because of you guys, because you guys have spread the word and the show has just been taken off like wildfire. And it's just incredible. So this was something that was real special to me. Nevada, again, these are two really good friends of ours that were just, that are subscribers to BuckeyesScoop.com, like literally gold jacket, Canton, NFL Hall of Famers. But when you saw this, what did you think of it?
Well, like you said, I just thought the reason it's a great interview is because you got great questions and great interaction with the board, which is you don't get anywhere else. And, like I said, it's a tribute to the board. It's a tribute to how much fun this is. We tell you every day how much fun we have, but when you hear Orlando Pace talking about how much fun he had too, it's a great compliment. And Helping Hand, greatest of all time in my opinion. Yeah. Definitely on the pantheon of greats. So nice post for sure. Nice way to start the day.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State, obviously the greatest of all time. And then, him and Jerry Rice are like 1 and 1A for me. I mean, Jerry Rice, obviously, statistically, is probably the best football player that's ever lived. But, I mean, he is right there. So I had to share that real quick because, wow. I mean, again, it's like when your two football heroes are talking about you, and this is like from when I was a little kid, are talking about you in Vegas at a Super Bowl. Because imagine like the pomp of a Super Bowl party. There's just anything you can imagine, like the coolest stuff, Travis Scott, supermodels everywhere, and they're talking about a Buckeye Scoop podcast, which is just like, it's just perplexing to me. But hey, we're we're gonna keep grinding, guys. Because again, you guys are inspiring to us, and I mean, we're working Sunday. We can't wait to see you guys kick it, take your questions, and we're just so thankful for all you guys do for us. Clueless Pat Daddy, again, thanks for the 5. Do you think Kelly will bring his culture to his offense, or will it continue with Day's culture? Great question. I assume they have some cultural differences. Nevada, I'll let you take that first because I just had a long diatribe.
Yeah, no, look. It's going to be a combination. You know, Ryan Day obviously is from the Chip Kelly coaching tree, so a lot of his concepts, a lot of his core beliefs, a lot of what he does is directly from Chip Kelly. But you know, they're going to try to match, and that was one of the things that they talked about in this thing during the interview process. And I got this through the agents as they were talking. What they were so excited about was how closely aligned they are. Because they've been apart for a bit, they've been apart for a few years. And the concern from the agents was maybe the student has become the teacher, and maybe this is going to become a problem. But when they talked, man, it was like old home week. They were immediately vibing. They were immediately driving. I heard they were both like really excited to kind of get this thing going on. So I don't think it's going to be as much of a change. There might be some subtle things, big linemen versus smaller linemen, or running the quarterback versus not running the quarterback. But I think a lot of the concepts are going to be very similar, with some just great Chip Kelly tweaks to kind of get guys in space and create as much maximum damage as possible.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that they will kind of migrate a little bit more towards what Chip likes to do, because I think that's what Ryan Day wants. I think he wants to just kind of, it's kind of like, you throw the offense is like his bird that he releases out into the wild, it flies away. Like, that's what he wants this offense to do. He wants it to take off without him having to guide it, and that's something that Jim Knowles has just been fantastic about, because his culture is very regimented. It's very tough, very effort oriented. I love listening to Jim Knowles talk. If you've never listened to him clinic before at a football clinic, he is very impressive when he talks. And again, I think Chip, one of his trademarks is that he has some unique stuff in his culture, and he does stuff his own way. And there's a lot of science behind it. There's a lot of mental stuff behind it. And I love that. I mean, because again, if you believe in something and you have reasoning, again, now it can't just be stuff that has no reasoning or stuff that's dumb or whatever. Hey, we're going to practice at midnight to 2 a.m. every night just because I feel like it. That's going to be like some sort of, scientific or data driven, or this works really good for us. Like, I love that kind of stuff. Because again, nothing makes me more excited about Ohio State than when we have someone who has a big personality and is really bright and has fresh ideas, and he can bring in the good stuff. Now, is it all going to be his? No, it's still going to be Ohio State's culture. But again, when a guy like Chip Kelly says, well, this is why we do something, you pay attention to it. You don't just discard it. You don't just say, oh, well, what do you know? It's like, no, he's made monstrous teams out of C-tier talent. He's turned them into A-tier teams, which is something that, again, when he was at Oregon and in some of these places, like, they didn't have the best recruits. They didn't have 5-star superstars, whatever. But he made them play like it. He schemed it like it. They played fast. They were terrifying on offense. I mean, especially when they first started doing that stuff, like, I just didn't know how he defended it. We always struggled against spread teams. When I was in college, like, when we played spread offenses, man, this is some of their pro style teams. Spread teams would kill us. And it was because it was hard to defend. There's a lot of different spacing and a lot of different angles and a lot of different stuff that you just weren't used to, as opposed to the old time fullback, I formation, shotgun, like stuff that every other team had done for 30 years or so. But that's a great question, Pat Daddy. I appreciate that. And yeah, they'll definitely have some differences. But again, if I'm Ryan, I want it to be Chip's culture. Like, it's still going to be Ohio State, but Chip's got to own that room. He's got to own that team. He's got to own that. Those offensive players are in that room looking at him in that meeting room. It's his time to shine. And honestly, if I'm Ryan Day, Coach Day, I'm happier than a lark if the players, because the players will buy into his culture, because there is a palpable buzz in the Woody Hayes from the players that Chip Kelly is going to be calling the plays. And again, Bill O'Brien is one thing, but Chip Kelly is a different animal now, because his offense, Bill O'Brien was 32nd in offense last year in the NFL, which is fine, but Chip was like 4th 2 years ago, and he was 1st in the nation in rushing 2 years ago, and they didn't have the talent that we have anywhere near it. So real excited to see that. Beach Buck, thank you for the 5 best Super Bowl accomplishments, ? Jim Marshall / Vrabel 4 appearances, Holmes MVP, another. Ooh. Well, I mean, my man Orlando blocking in the greatest show on turf was pretty good. Vrabel. I mean, Vrabel probably should have been the MVP that one year when he had the touchdown. He was dominant. God, that's tough. I assume that this means Ohio State. I mean, San Antonio winning the MVP. That's probably the greatest catch in Super Bowl history. That little corner out there he got from Roethlisberger where he drug his toes and right at the end of the game. I mean, that's got to be for me. That's probably it. And I am a humongous San Antonio Holmes fan because I played with that dude and he personally got me 2 pairs of gold pants. So Tone, if you're listening, I love you. You're the best. Nevada, your thoughts on any Buckeye Super Bowl accomplishments? I mean, maybe Nick Bosa gets 3 sacks today. I mean, I know the Chiefs will hold the crap out of him, but maybe Nick gets after Pat Mahomes today. Your thoughts?
Yeah, that would be awesome. But in terms of stuff that's actually happened, not to happen, yeah, I mean, for me, Vrabel when he caught that touchdown pass, that was just so memorable. And San Antonio with the MVP. I mean, I don't, I hate to gravy train on your answers, but I mean, San Antonio was the Super Bowl MVP, so
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to do. It's kind of hard to do better. That not bad for a kid from the muck, man. That was
Yeah.
that was amazing. That was an amazing game. So probably, I think that one's got to be number one.
Well, and it's hard for, like, in my mind, it's hard for a receiver to get it because it seems like it's a quarterback almost every year. Maybe if someone has some crazy defensive game, but usually it's a quarterback. So for a receiver to get it, it's impressive because you're not touching the ball every play. But again, that catch he made is the best catch in Super Bowl history for my money. Because I mean, there was no room there, and at the point of the game to win the game, just absolutely crazy. That was a great question, so I appreciate you, Beach Buck. Again, this is why I love doing this because we never know what we're gonna get, and we get some really, really great questions. Clueless Pat Daddy, thank you for the 5. Sorry for the third chat. Never apologize. We love answering your questions. Like, that's what we're here for. And you guys bring some of the best questions, like the stuff that we can never write, script. In pre-show we talk about what we're going to talk about, but then you guys bring stuff that's compelling. And honestly, I think a lot of people love when someone's like, "Man, that's a good question. I wish I would have thought of that." And then we answer it, and then we all get to benefit from the great question because some of it makes us really think, and we can explain some stuff and try to make sure we explain it in a manner that makes sense and is informative and fun, and that's what we like to do. So do not ever apologize for a third chat. But if I remember correctly, Chip fired Fry. He did not. Justin left to become the line coach at Ohio State. Do you believe there'll be any animosity from Fry? No, they love each other. I mean, you got to understand, like, when you're the line coach / OC at UCLA, and you get offered OC / line coach at Ohio State, like, I mean, that's not a lateral move. That's a vertical move because Ohio State is an S tier, top of the mountain type program. UCLA is a program where nobody's ever won there. It's been a long time since they've been good, or they've never been in playoff consideration. They're coming into the Big Ten. They're 4 out of 4 when you talk about those Pac-12 teams joining the Big Ten, because Washington, they were good. I don't know how they're going to do under Jed Fish. Oregon is going to be a really, really tough challenge. SC is SC. SC is still a blue blood A-list thing. They just got to find some defense. And then UCLA is kind of like the redheaded stepchild of that group. And it's not, like I said, it's not a good job because California is awesome and it's beautiful, great mountains and all that. But, when you're paying your coach a certain amount of money, if you can live in Ohio, if you can live in, Columbus versus LA, literally, if you're making the same amount of money in the same spots, you live completely different just because it is insanely expensive and you got to drive a long way in LA and it gets exhausting. So sometimes, like, it's hard to fill out your staff because, the cost of living. I mean, Chip's got to come here and he's going to be like, that's how much that big house costs in Ohio. It's like, man, this is great. We got good golf courses. Like, let's go. This is my opinion. And again, like, LA is, there's beautiful spots in LA, but I mean, if I could live anywhere, I'm living in Ohio because I've lived everywhere. I've lived in Florida. I've lived in San Francisco. I've lived in Chicago, and like, I'm happy to live in Ohio. Nevada, your thoughts? I don't think there's any animosity. In fact, I think that they're going to be thrilled to be working together again. Chip and Fry.
Those guys are close. And little known factoid, but Nevada Buck I've been a UCLA season ticket holder since '79. So, like, I've been close to UCLA football. My brother went to UCLA. I've been a UCLA fan, obviously secondary to Ohio State, but I followed UCLA football for a long time. And you're right, other than a few years with Bob Toledo, and you have to go back to '54, I think, when they won their only national championship or something. UCLA football's tough. I mean, I was there when they were playing in their home games in the Coliseum, which was USC's home field. So it was really odd. They moved to the Rose Bowl after that. But no, it's just a tough gig, always kind of the second banana. So the fact that let's reflect though on what Chip Kelly left UCLA as a head coach to become the coordinator at Ohio State. He wasn't the former UCLA head coach that left UCLA to become he was the current head coach of UCLA that left to become the coordinator. That's never been done in the history of football. I guarantee that's never happened. Somebody have to point me to another time when something like that's happened where a guy's left. I mean, because UCLA is in the Big Ten. So he's leaving as a blue blood of the Pac-10 or the Pac-12, leaving to the Big Ten, and he leaves the current head coaching job to become a coordinator. It just goes to show you how much times have changed, one, and how highly respected Ohio State is, two. And both those things are good things for Ohio State fans.
Well, I mean, it just shows the direction that he thought the program was heading. I mean, again, like when your athletic director is a total idiot, and that's the guy you're kind of hitching your wagon to in terms of, growing the program, NIL, fundraising, kind of everything. Like, it's just like, it's hard. Like, that's why I think Ross Bjork he's the kind of the crown jewel of the offseason. Because, we're not talking about, because he's not here yet, but him coming is going to be unbelievable for Ohio State football, fundraising. Because again, when you're an athletic director, like your job's to raise money. Like you need good buildings, make sure that we've got the top-notch, state-of-the-art everything. And the fact that we don't have a new football building, we haven't had one for 20 years, is asinine. It's completely insane. Every other program's got a new building. And again, we, with the revenue we're bringing in, we need a new Woody Hayes. Bad. And I'm not the one that's saying it. There's people in that building that have been saying it. And they've done studies and they've said, look, this is where we rank in the Big Ten out of nicest facilities. There's like independent studies of updates and bells and whistles. And again, is it everything? No. But should our guys have better stuff? Yes, because they're prolific and they're the monster fundraiser for the entire university. So hopefully Ross Bjork can get that done. That would make me very, very happy. Sean Crook, thanks for the 5. Appreciate you always being in here, my friend. Again, you're awesome. And again, I always see that name and I appreciate you so much. Different articles have mentioned Tony Alford and Brian Hartline as potential candidates for the UCLA job. Thoughts? I think it'd be interesting. Again, I'm not saying anything against those two, but it's just like, I think it's very difficult for an athletic director. And again, Martin Jarman has deep Ohio State ties. He worked under Gene Smith. He hired Jeff Halfley at Boston College, not the brightest bulb. But, if you hire a position coach, like a running back coach as your head coach, that's tough. Like a guy that's never been a coordinator before, it's really tough. And Tony's getting old too. He's not like some spring chicken. So I don't know. I mean, I could see it. And maybe that's what he wants to do. Maybe he wants to put one of those guys on. But to me, like, it was like when Al Washington Jr. was interviewing for Boston College. I'm like, that is going to be a really hard sell to the alumni and to the boosters that, hey, like Bill O'Brien, A+. You're getting a guy who's a Patriot, guy who's been in Boston. He's a Boston guy. He probably, has watched The Departed 10,000 times. So, I mean, he's like true Boston. So that's the easy sell. He's a Boston guy. Al Washington played there. He's from Columbus, played at Watterson. And I don't know how you sell a guy who's never coordinated an offense or a defense to the fan base. Because again, you have to jump from coordinating one side of the ball to coordinating the entire team. And that is a reasonable jump. But to go from just running like a D-line room to coordinating an entire team is a massive jump, in my opinion. I think that the progression is position coach, coordinator, head coach. Like that's the natural progression. Preferably a play calling. Because again, I know Brian is like the offensive coordinator, but he's the offensive coordinator the same way I'm the offensive coordinator. Because we called the same number of plays last year during the season. So to me, I think that if you're not calling the plays, you're not really the coordinator. It's a fancy way to give you some more money when they renegotiate your contract. And that's fine. Again, it's cool to say you're the offensive coordinator, but if you're not calling the plays, you're not the coordinator. Nevada, your thoughts on Tony Alford and Brian Hartline potentially to UCLA?
I haven't heard anything from anybody in their camps that would lead me to believe that there was any validity to that. So could that come out? If it does, we'll continue to monitor it. And if something like that jumps up, we'll say it. But I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah. And again, I mean, this is the time of the year we can throw 50 names because UCLA is there isn't like it's not like there's a perfectly segued, this is going to be the guy. Because it's not a great job. I mean, I keep saying now it's a job, but it's not a great job. Here we go. Paul Lewis, $10. Any luck? J.J. Smith. What is his middle name? I actually got it for you. So you guys all know Jeremiah Smith. His middle name is Nevada. Do you want to take a guess before I reveal it?
I'm gonna say Joseph. Jeremiah Joseph Smith.
That sounds like that's like the mountain near Jeremiah Johnson. No, Javon, Javon. Jeremiah Javon Smith, Javon. So again, when you guys wonder if we really are the scoop, we are the scoop. So we figured out JJ Smith's middle name. So Paul, appreciate you, brother. Again, I know that you are a huge supporter of this channel, so we appreciate you. But hey, I had to get that one for you because you're my man, and you take care of us and you take care of our troops. So thank you so much.
Hold on before you go anywhere. Burt Carton, Harry S. Truman, what was his middle name?
Stick?
No, it was just S. Just S. There I go. Boom. In your face, Burt Carton.
Boom.
In your face. Boom, baby.
Boom. Was it S? Was it spearmint?
No, just little S.
Expedition Greg, that's for being a Scoop Ultra member. Thanks for the deuce. Any updates on Big Ten expansion? Nevada, are we getting some criminals into the Big Ten?
Yeah, FSU's coming. I'm telling you, FSU's going to be the next one. I really think it's going to roll FSU, Miami, Notre Dame, and then somebody else from the ACC. I'd like to think it's going to be UNC, but UNC, you've got a battle there between kind of the old South and the new South, and I think that academically and being a large flagship university, they fit the Big Ten profile so well from a academic standpoint, from a research standpoint, from a Research One standpoint, but they're Southern. I mean, it's North Carolina, but they're very Southern. So that could that's the kind of the internal battle they're going on right there. But yeah, Big Ten will absolutely expand, and I'll say the first team that's going to be the next one is Florida State Criminals are going to be in the Big Ten. Calling that, mark it down, hold me to that one.
That will be awesome for the Barton household because my old lady is a criminal, so that'll be fun. She's been dying for me to go to a game in Tallahassee, and I was like, until the Buckeyes go there, I ain't going. I got too many podcasts to do, and I got too much football to study. I'll be OHIO. Thank you for being a Scoop Ultra member. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for the 10. Does Chicago keep Fields and build around him or get Caleb Williams? Warren, Ohio, representing. I love Warren, Ohio. That is the home of Cavelli Enterprises. Sam Cavelli, one of the greatest Buckeyes who's ever lived, is up there. I go visit him frequently. He's a great person, and he is a huge sponsor of BuckeyesScoop.com. So if you guys like Panera Bread and you like bagels, they're the best. So I appreciate you. I appreciate Warren, Ohio. Youngstown is God's country. And I actually am a member of the Lake Club. That is the only country club that I belong to because Ed Moransky is my guy, and he gave me a membership for life. So the Lake Club in up there is my spot, and it is a beautiful spot. So if you guys are up there, check out the Lake Club. They have a fantastic restaurant. It's awesome. I think they're going to get Caleb Williams. I just do. And it's not because of me not like. I think Justin Fields is. I think he's way better than Caleb Williams. But there's a financial thing to it where do you go pay Justin, after this year and pay him, $30 million a year, whatever you're going to pay him, or do you get Caleb Williams for the next 5 years under his rookie contract, which will be substantially less? So that again, I think that is. When you're building a team and a roster, I think that the dream scenario for a lot of these guys is that they can hit that big home run, that grand slam. You get Joe Burrow for the first couple years, 3 years, 4 years under a rookie deal, and then your roster can be loaded with talented players. Because once that quarterback gets his second deal, if he's good, like Pat Mahomes makes $50 million a year right now, then Tyreek Hill has to go bye-bye. A lot of your really good players have to go bye-bye because if Tyreek Hill wants 25, 30 million, you can't afford to have him and Kelsey and Mahomes basically making, I don't know, almost $100 million between three players. So someone has to go. But under the rookie deal, you can fit them all. So I think that that's probably what Ryan Poles is thinking right now. But again, I unless there's a monstrous offer, I think they're going to take Caleb Williams and trade Justin Fields. But what's your thought on that, Nevada?
I think they're trading down. I think they're going to trade down, and I think the Bears are finally going to do the smart thing and not quarterback chase. Yeah, they're going to have to pay Fields a little bit more money, but it's not like Fields is going to break the bank. It's not like he's going to be a $50 or $60 million guy. I mean, he'll still be a relative bargain, and I think the amount of draft capital they can get for trading that pick would be tremendous, and I really think that's what they're going to do. But, again, I just said Bears and smart move in the same thing, and
No. They made the trade of the year last year, man. I mean, they got a haul. They got a haul for Bryce Young. I mean, they got DJ Moore. They got an extra first round pick. I mean, if they could get something like that again, that'd be insane. And Caleb Williams is a much more coveted prospect than Bryce Young. So, again, I know that the Bears are. I got drafted by the Bears, so obviously they're dumb. Kidding. But Ryan Poles is on, and Ryan, it's funny. It's so funny that me and Ryan were teammates in Chicago. He was my guard when I was tackle, and now he's the GM. He's the last guy on earth I had to pick to be a GM, but he's killing it right now, dude. You gotta give him credit. He traded for Montez Sweat, who made the Pro Bowl, locked him up long term.
I think he wasn't there when they did the Trubisky deal, was he?
No. He was with Kansas City. Okay. He was in the Kansas City front office like when they got good, and it's funny how like personnel guys just kind of rise as if a team's really good and there's a guy in there, then it's like every team wants to pluck the magic and take the magic of Kansas City, which is basically Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid. But all of the executives get to ride the wave of, wow, they must be really smart. So we're going to hire them to be the GM. And I'm really happy for Ryan because, again, he's killing it right now. But this is going to be interesting. Again, a gun to my head, I think they're trading Fields. But it's not because I don't like Fields. I think Justin Fields is better. Like you say, who do you want to build your team around? I like Justin because I think Justin is a tough dude. And I think he can run. He's dynamic. I think he's got a lot of charisma. I think he's a great leader. And I think Caleb Williams is a Fruit Loop. Like he paints his nails black. He acts like a douchebag. So if you tell me who I want Justin. But if you ask me what I think they're going to do, I think they're going to take Caleb and trade Justin. But just my opinion, and I think that the financial contract thing is the biggest reason why you would make that move. But if I'm the Browns, I'd trade for Justin Fields tomorrow and get rid of. I'd figure out a way to do it. But Watson's got a guaranteed deal, so it's done. But if I'm the Steelers or like any of these teams that need a quarterback, I would be going after Justin Fields hardcore. I'd trade a first rounder for him. Kevin Miller, Scoop Ultra member, brand new Scoop Ultra member as of today. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you for the deuce. If you have a question, toss it in the chat. And my boy Akeem the Dream and Devin are in there running the show. Tony Stop, thanks for being a Scoop Ultra member, and thank you for the 5, my friend. I firmly believe one of the big advantages to guys coming back is the subs will be bigger, stronger, and older going forward. Your thoughts? I think that, like I just remember when I came back my senior year, I was so much better than I was my junior. I was bigger, faster, because it's not just that you physically get better, and these guys are developing. These guys are starting to take in Pilates. They're starting to do stuff to really dial in. They're getting their diet cleaned up, tight. Again, these guys they know that there's a fortune on the line coming back. So these guys they're acting like NFL guys because they've got kind of the blueprint of what it takes to really maximize their potential. But the flip of it is the guys that you're going against are younger. Now you're the oldest guy on the field, which is amazing because when you're playing against a 20-year-old and you're 23, it's especially in the trenches, it's a devastatingly different effect. Because I remember in 2004 when I was the young guy, the skinny guy, the not as strong guy, it was way different than when I was 23. I'm telling you, when I was 19 versus 23, it was a whole different ball of wax. So I just think that these guys, the comfort level they have with the scheme, the playbook, the culture, and again, I know that they have to embrace discomfort and break through kind of those glass ceilings that you can set if you're comfortable. But I just think that when you get your routine down and you really get dialed in, then that's when you become real prolific. And that's why I went from being second team All Big Ten to first team All American, is because I really had a strong routine. I knew what I needed to get done. And I just had this laser, maniacal focus on it. And that's what I think guys like Trey Henderson are at, Jack Sawyer, JT Tuimoloau. I mean, those kids, they've got big goals. They want that. They all want that Buckeye Grove tree. Because I tell those guys, I'm like, look, when you're dead, that tree is still there kicking it. And there's people from 1920 that have been gone for a while. That tree's still in that grove. So you want that. You don't want to have some headstone out in the middle of nowhere that nobody ever comes to see. That tree is always there right next to the stadium. So it is pretty cool. Nevada, your thoughts on these guys coming back bigger, stronger, faster? What do you expect out of the crew we got?
Well, I mean, it's going to be amazing, but I think, some of the unknown benefactors of this are going to be the backups. And you say, well, how can that be? Because this guy's coming back. But, when you blow teams out, you guys get ahead, you want to kind of rest these starters. These backups are going to get quality minutes that we haven't gotten before because I'm telling you, we're not going to be playing in a bunch of close games, especially early, because this team is going to be overwhelmingly good. It's going to be overwhelmingly good on the offensive side. It's going to be overwhelmingly good on the defensive side. And I think that's going to force Ryan Day to substitute, which means the backups get more quality reps. And so I just think it's a great situation all the way around for Ohio State. Getting guys back, I've always said, is like getting a 10-star recruit because there's no substitute for experience, for age, for strength. And like you said, every year that you stay longer and other guys leave, all the older guys have left on the other side, and you're the older guy now stepping up and you're playing against the younger guys. It's just 1 + 1 = 4. So I think it's going to be a huge advantage for Ohio State in 2024.
I totally agree. Chris Schmidbauer, my boy, Woody Hayes legend, worked in the program when I was a player, one of the great ones. Thanks for the 5, brother. Nice haircut, Kirk. Appreciate you. Shout out to my girl, Amaya. She comes over to the crib and cuts me and the 2 little kids. She did not cut the kid who broke his leg, though, because he was squalling too much. But me and little Kirky got haircuts today. I love Trust for what he has done for me and grateful for Urban. Question is, how do you guys think they each would have handled NIL? Well, I know how Urban would have handled it. I mean, he would have been, there's a human being on this earth that would have raised more money for NIL than Urban, because Urban is the greatest sales guy I've ever been around. He's a monster. And, he gets people so excited that, they can't wait to write checks and help out and fundraise. Because, again, that's what he wants to do. And he would also push Gene Smith and push the development people to help raise money. Because, again, that's for, if you want to make it unfair, go get a bunch of money. And Urban, donors loved Urban. They loved having dinner with him. They loved golfing with him because he's just so intense. Like it's golfing with Darth Vader. Like when you go out, I mean, it's just like you just don't. He's just he always wants to win. He always wants to whip you. If you play him at racquetball, he's gonna try to kill you. That's just how he's wired. And guys that are successful guys that are really like dialed in, and that's their mindset. They love being around that. A lot of these guys that are big time business guys, they own huge companies. They, like I mentioned, Sam Cavelli, Keith Wendell was the CEO of Harley Davidson. They love to learn from guys like Urban Meyer because they're kind of, they're kind of eagles, like eagles fly alone. So they love that thing. So they always like to support guys like that. So I think Urban would have killed it. I think Trust would have too. I mean, Trust was a good fundraiser. He wasn't as aggressive as Urban. But, I think that it's just kind of what the game was. The game now is you got to make sure that you take care of these kids. You make sure they get what they need. But I think they both would have done a great job. Nevada, your thoughts on how Urban or Jim Tressel would have handled NIL?
Yeah, no, the Urban would have killed the game. I mean, Urban would have, if he was in the NIL era, a fully engaged Urban Meyer going after this would have been, I don't even know what to say. Yeah, he is the world's greatest salesman. He is intense. He's not afraid to ask for the order, and he's beloved. He's beloved by the guys that have the big money, and he's not afraid to go there and ask for it. So he'd have been great. I think Tressel would have probably been handing out coupons or something like that. We'd have been on some sort of discount program. I don't think he would have been as good at this because it was never his thing. His thing was always about, I want guys that want to be, remember, we only want kids that want to be Buckeyes type of thing. So I think NIL would have been a very difficult concept for him to embrace fully. I don't think he would have really understood it because I don't think it really went to his sensibilities. So, but, I mean, Tressel's obviously a genius. Like, he could have been president of the United States and I'd have voted for him. But I think NIL would have been challenging for him to master.
Tressel's very thrifty. I will say that. I loved it to death. I'll leave it at that. But when Urban showed up, it was like, what do you guys need to be successful? I was like, a computer, please, for the love of God, so I don't have to fight. Like, we had one computer, one laptop that was connected to the film between two GAs. And the guys from Florida that came up, like Brian Voltolini and Mark Pantoni, they couldn't believe that. That was the craziest thing they'd ever heard in their life. They wouldn't buy me a computer, and I was like, and I literally said, I'd pay for it. I'll pay $1,500 because I'll be able to get my work done 1,000 times faster instead of me fighting with the other officer GA for the one computer. I don't even like saying that out loud because it sounds so ridiculous at Ohio State, but like, I literally offered to buy it. I was like, I'll pay $1,500 just so I can get my job done faster because I can go home earlier. I can go home at 10 instead of 2 a.m. because I have to fight over a stupid laptop. Anyways, moving on. Jared Haddle, the king of Chillicothe, thank you for the 10. Appreciate you, brother. What does this mean? There will be a heavy dose of quarterback runs with Kelly running the show. I think we're going to see a lot more QB run, especially if you got your two guys being Will Howard and Devin, two really good runners. Julian Sainz athletic. It's going to be real interesting to see how much we run them. Lincoln. But I think we'll see more key runs. Your thoughts on that, Nevada?
Before I answer that, this is kind of like watching Ben-Hur or something like that. One of those old movies where they had like an intermission in the middle. We're going to have an intermission here where I always usually ask for this at the end, but I'm asking for it now. Hit that like button. It'll take you 2 seconds. See the little thumb on the thing? Just hit the little thumb. That really helps us. We'll have videos that get 25,000 views and we'll get 2,000 likes. And I'm like, you mean 25,000 people didn't like this video? Like, I don't understand. So if you're there, this is our intermission. Hit that little thumb. Let's go out there and do that for Nevada, and I appreciate that. Now I'm going to answer the question. Are we going to see more quarterback runs? Yes, we're going to see more quarterback runs. It probably won't be as many as I would like, but it'll be more than we have seen the last 3 years combined, guaranteed. It is a staple of the Kelly offense. They've already let the guys know, better get on your running shoes, better get ready to do your thing. And Chip Kelly didn't lead the nation in rushing just by running, Charbonneau. He ran DTR a lot. He ran a lot. He'll run the quarterback, and Will Howard will get a workout this year for sure.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited to see that. My favorite name in the entire chat is now up. Not Kirk Barton, my favorite. Thanks for the 5. How often does Ryan Day need to touch base with Julian Sainz so he doesn't lose another great QB like he did with Quinn Ewers? I think it's a totally different scenario because Will Howard is a 1-year guy. It's not like CJ where, CJ was a redshirt freshman and Quinn was a true freshman. They're literally the same year eligibility. So that was little slicker. A lot of stuff went on behind the scenes with Ewers. Worked out great for him. Worked out great for CJ. Worked out great for Ohio State and Texas. I think Julian is the future. I think that this is Will Howard's year this year, and then Julian's going to be our guy next year. It's my opinion. I think Julian's saying, from the guys I've talked to that have caught his passes in the Woody Hayes, man, he can throw it. He's one of those natural throwers, and I've seen it. Like, I've seen guys like that. Like, I played in 09 with Matt Stafford. It's like you watch him throw, and it's different. I mean, he's got a cannon, but guys, that have touch and anticipation, it's incredible to watch. Like, I used to practice with him and Calvin Johnson, and it was just the most amazing thing I've ever seen because you've got a Hall of Fame quarterback throwing to maybe the most talented receiver who's ever lived because he's 6'6" and he runs a 4.3, and he was like as hard of a worker as I've ever seen in practice. He would lay out for balls in like the middle of the summer during OTAs, during a worthless OTA. He's out there laying out and catching, Stafford's 75-yard bombs. It was crazy. So, but I think that's what Julian is. Nevada, your thoughts on Julian saying how much does Ryan Day need to touch base with him? I mean, I'm all over that kid. He is the future of the program, and what a future we have.
Well, look, the Ryan Day Quinn Ewers thing. We've told you. First of all, we've spent like if you listen to this podcast, I don't know how many millions of nice things we've said about Ryan Day, but we've lined up the Ryan Day compliments here, end to end. We'll be fair. When he does great stuff, we'll tell you. If he does something that's not so great, we'll tell you that as well. How he handled Quinn Ewers was terrible. I'm just telling you, it was terrible. It was indefensible. It was terrible. There's no extenuating circumstances. There's no reason. The only thing I can think of is he was a young head coach, a really young head coach, an inexperienced head coach, and he screwed up. And it happens. And as Kirk mentioned, it worked out best for all involved, as these things typically do. So would I say is I think Ryan has learned a lot from that experience. I'm not concerned at all that Julian Saint's going to get the Quinn Ewers treatment. And I agree with Kirk. I think Julian is absolutely the future. I mean, he is big time player. I'm excited about him. Like I like all the quarterbacks. You know, I've told you guys I have some concerns about error that go beyond the field. I'm worried about that kid, but Julian's kind of got it all together. Sharp kid. Love Devin Brown. Love Lincoln. I think we've got a bunch of good quarterbacks in the room, but Julian's he's a different cut, man. I'm just telling you. So yeah, I'm excited for the QBs for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if Devin sticks, I project him to start in 25. But if not, man, I'm Julian saying all day, every day, because that kid is special. I'll be OHIO. Thank you for being a Scoop Ultra member. Appreciate you, my friend. Funny story: Tress recruited me to YSU back in the day. That had to have been amazing. I run to them often in the YO, eating at my family's restaurants. Great human being. Youngstown has amazing food, amazing restaurants. Cafe Capri, MVR. Like, I mean, I've been to most of them. It's just fantastic food all across the block. Avalon Pizza. I love Youngstown. It's a great place. I used to go when Tress was president. I'd go to one game a year, support him, go sit in his suite, talk to him. I sat next to Old Man Stoops. It was Mark Stoops' father. I believe. Now, don't quote me on that if they say he passed away. But I saw to one of the fathers of one of the Stoops brothers, and it was amazing. I talked ball with him. So,
wait a second. You're sounding like Joe Biden, like talking about people that died like years before he talked.
No, this guy was definitely alive, and I'm not Joe Biden. So, hey, we're not talking politics down here in Nevada. No politics. Sorry. You're banned. We do not talk politics on Buckeye Scoop. So we're not going to talk about your boy. So you don't have to talk about anyone that's died, other than the people that we've killed in the last few years, which is a few of those.
I'm sorry.
John Mertz, thank you for the 10. Appreciate you, my man.
Hold on. I want to say
my God.
one more thing.
You sound like Joe Biden now.
No, if you're a Scoop Ultra member, don't just say, hey, my family head restaurant. Shout them out, man. If you've got businesses that you want to shout out, put them on there, and we'll support them, man. We will support them. So if you're on there, put the name of your business, put the name of your company. Dude. Tell us what you do so we can support you. And
absolutely.
That's part about being part of the Scoop family, and we'll see the power of the Scoop family. I get it all the time. People are like, hey, I make cabinets. Hey, I'm a urologist. Hey, I have a restaurant. Hey, I do. Like, let us know who you are so we can help pump you up and promote you to other Scoop members and do that. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, especially when it's something like, a Youngstown restaurants. I mean, especially with a bunch of them. Those are amazing.
Let's go.
Yeah, I love that. John Mertz, thank you for the 10. This seems like a perfect situation for Chip. Doesn't have to be the PR and off the field stuff that head coach now has to do. He can just focus on scheming up a great offense. OH, Nevada.
I
agree. I think Chip's made enough money. I think he's going to be excited to just be able to coach ball and run an offense and see how he can put the chess pieces in place. I think that's going to be the exciting part about watching what he can do with Quinshawn and Trey and the amount of variety he has in his offense to get touches to guys like J.J. Smith and Mecca and Brandon Innes. And, I think that's going to be absolutely fascinating. I'm going to be excited to see it. Nevada, do you think that Chip is going to enjoy just coaching and not having to be the big PR dude that the head coach always seems to be now?
Oh, I think it's the driving motivation for him being here. And I think it's why he signed a 3-year contract. And I think it's why he could be here for a long time, because that's what he wants to do. He wants to get back to coaching football. And that's what's going to get a chance to do at the highest level with the most talent he's ever had at Ohio State. And I tell you, he's not going to be the last guy to do this. This is going to be a move. College coaching head jobs are tough business right now. And I think you're going to see he'll be the first, but he won't be the last guy to do this. I can guarantee you that.
Absolutely. Dev, what is up, brother? Appreciate you, my man. As always, thank you for being a Scoop Ultra member. Thank you for being part of the Wrench Brothers, because you guys, when you're a moderator, you get like a little wrench. So the Wrench Brothers are out in force. It's like dodgeball. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a dodgeball. So if you guys can dodge the wrenches from Ohio 7715, aka Devin, and Tora, aka Hakeem, then you guys are being good people. Now, if you're being bad, the wrenches are going to come flying. You're going to get whooped. So you better watch out because these guys, when they shoot wrenches, they do not miss. Thanks for the 50, brother. I appreciate everything you in Nevada do. Thanks for trusting me with the wrench. Hashtag blessed. That's hilarious. That's going to be on a t-shirt. Thank you for trusting me with the wrench. Hashtag blessed. Who's going to be the surprise star of the O-line and the D-line this year? Thoughts on downs on offense too, if needed. Keep that strap ready. OH, Nevada.
I-O.
I put it the wrong way every time. It's amazing because it's opposite of where your logo is. Who is your surprise star of the O-line, Nevada, and your surprise star of the D-line? I'll let you go first so that I don't jack your guys.
I'm going to go with Ty Hamilton being my surprise guy on the defensive line. Guy that I've liked for a while, but and made some plays on the interior, but I just think he's poised to have kind of one of those breakout seasons. Guy that could come in there, come out of nowhere, and do some things. And on the offensive line, I'm gonna go with Luke Montgomery. I think Luke Montgomery. I know it's not much of a surprise, but he hasn't played much other than that kind of that extra tight end, where they give him that extra tight end jersey and stuff like that. But I think his light feet and his ability to pass set are going to be too attractive for them to do. And also little smaller, little more mobile guy, kind of guy, can kind of get around. And I think that's what Chip Kelly was looking for. And I think he'll fit well with what they're trying to do on those offensive concepts. So I'm going to go with Montgomery and Hamilton.
I'm going to go. Ooh. Like I really want to go Tylen Malone, but my head's saying to go Hero Canoe. I just think Hero's got a lot of upside. It's going to be real interesting to see if he can take that step. He looked good when he played. And then I'm going to go tackle. Ooh. It's tough because I'm debating between do I keep Fryer at tackle or do I move him to guard? I know he's moving to guard because that changes if you put Carson Hinsman potentially at guard. It's easy to pick Donnie first team All Big Ten. So, I mean, it's got to be George or Tigra at right tackle. I think those guys both have a ton of upside. George Fitzpatrick, Tigra, Tish Kabola. The young guys aren't ready. Honestly, Ian is doing really good work so far. I knew Ian would start fast. Ian Moore, the kid from Indiana, because his high school coach was a really good offensive line coach. Kyle Ralph played at Carolina, college lineman. So Ian's trained up. Like he knows how to lift. He knows how to work. He's really good fundamentally already because, again, his high school head coach was an offensive lineman in college. So, when you're in his shoes and you get a kid who's like a national recruit like Ian Moore, like you're going to pour a lot into him to make sure that he's ready to go. Because, like your calling card are the kids you send to college. If they show up and they ball and they're good, you look great. If they show up and they fail and they're terrible and they're lost, then you don't look so great. So I think that Ian Moore is a guy who I think potentially could make the two deep somewhere, probably at tackle because he's a big, long kid. He's got a really bright future at Ohio State. So I'm going to go there. And Caleb on offense, I would be shocked if Caleb played offense because I don't know why. Just because when you have JJ and you've got Ennis and Tate and you've got Emeka and we didn't even talk, I don't even say Jaden Ballard just because I don't think the coaches trust him because they never play him. Other than punt return where he is the most terrifying guy I've ever seen field a punt in my life. But I don't know why you'd risk Caleb when he's the best safety in the country on offense. Because I think he's an electric athlete, great punt returner, but he needs to be the best safety in the country and not dilly-dallying around with offense. Because I think we've got enough on offense. If our receivers were weak, it'd be one thing, but our receivers I think are going to be wicked strong. Nevada, I did not get that out of you. Do you think Caleb Downs plays offense like Ryan Day mentioned, or is that just a spring experiment?
I mean, I tell you what, I've said this many times. I know Ohio State listens to this show. Listen to me right now, Ohio State. Put back twin receivers on the punt return. Put Caleb Downs, pair him with whomever you want to pair him with. You'll get more punt returns because they're not going to run 53.5 yards or whatever it is to field punts every time. You'll catch them in the air before the thing bounces. We did it with Teddy Ginn in San Antonio. Those guys were not China dolls. They went on to play how long has Teddy played in the NFL? Like 16 years or some
Yeah.
ridiculous number like that. So guys can survive back there. It's okay to do it. Use our talent. Put Caleb Downs back on thing, but put him back with another guy and watch the magic happen.
Yeah. Totally agree. Sloth Nation, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you, my man. A guy that was on the scoop from the inception. Who do you think UCLA will hire? I personally think David Shaw. It's really, does David Shaw want to coach at the college level? Because he left Stanford. Stanford is a very difficult job, obviously, with the academic requirements. You can recruit like 1% of the kids that you'd be looking at. He'd make a lot of sense, I think. I don't know who they would hire. Nevada, honestly, you live out there. Any thoughts on who they could be potentially hiring? It was weird that one of the insiders reported that they interviewed Jed Fish, who just took the Washington job. And for the life of me, I don't understand why someone would think that UCLA is a better job than Washington. That could be crazy. Maybe you think UCLA is better than Washington. I think Washington's a decent job. There's no in-state talent, which is tough, but they've been formidable in the past. But Nevada, your thoughts on who UCLA will look to hire?
I Tony White, Troy Taylor, Barry Odom. I think those are the 3 top guys for the UCLA job. And you're right, it's not a great job, but I've always thought UCLA was one of the sleeping giant jobs. I really do. Just because, look, if USC got the top 25 guys in Southern California and you just went and got the next 25 guys, you'd be one of the best teams in the country. That's how deep Southern California football is. And I think UCLA hasn't done a very good job of that. I think they think they're beyond that. They like the fact that they're a basketball school, even though they're not even a great basketball school anymore. So I think that if you got the right guy, he could really energize, the fan base, could really get people excited, and you've got a deep recruiting well to mine from. So, but I think it'll be one of those 3 guys that I told you.
I agree. And again, you're the guy that should answer that, not me, because I don't care about UCLA, and you live and you're a season ticket holder to UCLA, and you've got massive insiders out there, so that's good. Tony Turley, my man, it was great talking to you last night for a little bit. Kirk, great to see your little dude is healing. Remember, chicks dig leg casts. Your thoughts about Cam Hayward winning the Walter Payton Man of the Year? So real quick, I will show you guys how ridiculously funny this cast is, and the fact that I'm in Ohio and he's got a blue cast on really chapped me a little bit, but Nationwide Children's did a great job on him. Surgery is about 30 minutes long. And so he is immobilized and he is grumpy, but he is my little dude. He will be good. And right before we came on, he was, in the words of Travis Scott, out like a light. So he is hanging in there. So all you guys, I appreciate all of your concerns, your prayers, everything. Thank you so much for that. He's a tough little dude, and I'm sure it will not be my last trip to the emergency room with my kids because they are absolutely crazy. And it's fun because, again, I like them being active and running around. And sometimes when you run around, you break stuff. So it's all good. Cam Hayward is one of the greatest human beings I've ever been around. He's a kid that was a freshman when I was a senior. He started as a freshman, which is impossible almost to do at Ohio State. He actually came in August. He wasn't an early entry guy, and he won the spot, which is, again, that's crazy how hard that is to do. He's 6'7", just monstrously long arms. He's a guy that I couldn't vertical set. A vertical set is when you basically you pass set and just kick straight back, because if I did that against Cam, his arms were so long and mine were, I have in normal humans terms, I have long arms, but in NFL monster terms, Cam has very long arms. So if I just cruise back, when a guy's got arms on you and he can reach you, he's going to kill you. So I would always short set Cam and mess with him and mix stuff up because he was so strong and he was so big. And he's only 18. I had him when he's an 18-year-old, not his senior year. But he was still very impressive. He's a kid. We'd kill each other in practice all day. Never talked trash. Never fought with me. Now, when he got older, he fought a lot. He was ornery as a senior when I was working as a coach. But we never fought because I just, I wasn't a fighter in practice. But there were guys that would start it with me and I'd get it after. But I never started a fight in practice. I finished it. I finished a good one with Joel Pettin one time. It was a war. But anyways, Cam actually, was a kid that I was really close with because we both lost our fathers at a very young age. So his dad was Ironhead Hayward, who was an absolute monstrous running back, like a 300-pound running back. And his dad died of cancer tragically. It was literally right when he was around in high school, I believe. And so I told him, it was like I lost my old man when I was 12. My old man was 39 when he died. So we really bonded over that because it is hard when you're playing at Ohio State and most of the players, they have their dads. The dads might be separated. They might never been married to the mother, whatever. But you see a lot of dads, and me and Cam never got to experience that, which kind of sucked. But we'd bond over that, and it would be hilarious. I'd always make sure the freshman had a ride home because when I was a freshman, I never had a ride, so I'd walk back to the campus, which was good. It kept me skinny. But I'd always ask Cam if he needed a ride, and a lot of times he'd say yeah. So we'd both load up in our '97 Honda Accord with 200,000 miles, and I'd drive him over to the dorms. And I'd just like to talk to him because it's always good when you can talk to a kid, and it's not practice, it's not school, it's not meetings, and you're just driving home for the like 10 minutes to say, hey, how you doing? Are you good? Are you homesick? Is there anything I can do? That's something I love to do because I'd always make sure the freshman had rides home. I had a little dinky cart. Like now, like with my truck, I could fit like a ton of them. But I really love Cam. I'm so proud of him. I'm so happy the type of career he's had. Fringe NFL Hall of Fame type career. I don't know if he'll get penalized because he's a DN that's a 3-4 guy, so he's not gonna have a ton of sacks. So statistically, it might be tough. But what a person! All-time great Steeler. Probably have his number retired there. I'm just proud of the kid. I mean, I've known him since he's 18, and I just love the kid to death. Nevada, your thoughts on Cam Hayward winning the Walter Payton Man of the Year?
Yeah, well deserved. I mean, anybody who's known him, I've interacted with him a couple of times, and he's been unbelievable to me and my kids, and always had time for everybody. Just and not let me tell you what, not every Ohio State football player is that way. They're not. You want to think of them that way. You want to think of them as being like, oh man, they're all just the greatest, most gracious, great, and they're not. They're like the general population. There's some great, there's some not so great, there's some in between, but Cam is just an amazing guy. So this is totally unsurprising to me and well earned for sure.
Yeah, he's a monster. Philip Pouliot, thank you for the 5. If the tackle from BC isn't coming, how big of a liability is the line? I think the line's going to be a strength. I really do. I think that the tackle from BC is likely staying. Off the information I heard today, and actually missed 2 calls today from someone I'm going to talk to after the show. So I might have an update tonight on BuckeyesScoop.com. But I think our line's going to be good. I really do. And I'm not saying that because we are not just water carriers for the program. We're very honest, and we really try to give you guys a good breakdown as to why. But I think Jimmy Simmons is going to take a big step. Full year in the program, winter conditioning. I think that getting a center who played at Alabama, has played a lot for Nick Saban, is huge. I think that Carson Hinsman is going to push him. Potentially could help out at guard if you keep Josh Fryer at right tackle. I think we've got a lot of depth. I think we've got a lot of guys that are hungry, and we just have a very veteran crew. We didn't lose a ton. We lost Matt Jones, nice player, probably won't get drafted, 6 years overaged for an NFL pick. He'll be in a camp somewhere. But we didn't lose. It's not like losing Paris and Dewan and Luke Whippler the year before. That was tough. Just losing Matt Jones and getting Donnie back and getting a center from Bama, I think we're gonna have a nice uptick in offensive line production, and I'm excited for that. Nevada, your thoughts on the O line?
I think the O line was hampered last year by a mediocre scheme and a mobile quarterback, and I think when you change those 2 equations, I think the offensive line is going to look way better. I think it's going to look like it's going to be magic, and we're going to think all these guys took these huge, steps up in improvement. And it's scheme, man. It's always scheme. When you go back and watch the plays and you see it, and that's what we do. That we spend a lot of time going back and watching offensive plays, breaking this stuff down, counting the guys in the box, seeing who could have blocked the guy, what was it, how did this guy become a free runner, and I'm just left with the inarguable conclusion that scheme and a mobile quarterback really cost us last year, made the offensive line look worse than it was. And I think that's going to change I know that's going to change in 2024.
I totally agree. Patriot, love the name. Thank you for the 20. Some for the troops. Prayers for the 5 fallen Marines in California. Love the show. Yeah, again, the troops are everything on here. Troops, police officers. Again, thank you to all of you that have requested, and we've signed up for the Pay It Forward to get you guys on BuckeyesScoop.com. Thank you guys for all helping us take care of that. It's awesome. But yeah, like again, we're not bashful about saying how important our military is and how important the people that are in it, the families that have to sacrifice. It's a holistic deal when you join the military because you miss a lot of stuff. People miss you. It's hard, and some people, they bear the ultimate sacrifice. So again, we don't take that lightly around here, and we're always very as generous as we can be with our military members. So thank you for helping us with Pay It Forward. Thank you to all the new members that have signed up through Pay It Forward. Nevada, your thoughts? Again, we're the most pro-military site in existence, and that's never going to change.
Yeah, I still remember waiting for my dad coming back from Vietnam, and he was there for multiple terms, which was always hard because he was gone for 11 months, then back and then gone. And picking him up at the airport was always one of the big thrills. One of the things I'll never forget of being a little kid. So yeah, it's humbling to be around people in the military. I was never in the military. And I'm not, if I had ever had to face combat, I'm not sure if I would have just completely frozen or what I would have done. I don't know how people do it. So I have the utmost respect for anybody who does. So God bless you guys all.
Yeah, and thank you all. Kevin Miller, thank you for being a Scoop Ultra member, brand new Scoop Ultra member, our new Scoop Ultra member. Thank you also for the 5. Do you think since hiring Chip Kelly will run the quarterback more in a JT Barrett type of way? I think we'll be out in space more. I don't think we're going to run him in the A gap the way Urban did. I think that they want to protect him. I think there's going to be a lot of RPO action. I think there's going to be a lot of misdirection. I think it's going to be really hard to defend because that's what Chip's based on. He's got a lot of moving pieces, a lot of window dressing, a lot of putting players in different spots to get them touches and manufacturing some things. So I think we're going to run the quarterback more than we have in the recent past with Ryan Day. But I don't know if it'll be the volume that JT Barrett endured under Urban or Tebow did at Florida with Urban. Your thoughts on that, Nevada?
No, I think your point's spot on. I think it's where we're going to be running them as opposed to how much we're going to run them. We're going to be bringing those guys to the outside. We're not going to be pounding those guys up the middle, but it's going to feel different. It's going to feel different because the last 3 years we haven't had a rushing TV a touchdown from our QB1 in 3 years, which is I know I've said that before, but that is just an amazing stat. But that ends in 2024. And the day that we get the first rushing quarter touchdown from QB1, we're all going to get together on the post game and we're going to celebrate. So, yeah, that'll be a great day.
I totally agree. Paul Lewis, thank you for the 100. Thank you for being on here every night. Writing the thank you because I discovered that it is Jeremiah Javon Smith, and that is the guy that we're going to enjoy immensely for the next 3 years before he goes to the NFL and is a super high draft pick. Again, that kid is ultra talented, very humble, and he's just an absolute maniacal worker. He's like got that Jerry Rice, Chris Carter. Some of these guys, it's like they have almost like they always have like someone's chasing them. They got to get up and they got to get more work in. And those guys are the guys you want to bet on, man. And a guy like JJ, his only hobby is football. That's it. That's all he wants to do is football. And those are my favorite types of players and teammates. So I'm very excited about him. I'm going to shift gears. We're going to keep getting through your super chats, but we are going to talk about the 5-star safety because thank you to Devin and Akeem, Ohio 7715, and also Tora for blowing my phone up and saying everybody wants to know about the 5-star Fahim Delane, good counsel, one of the best high schools in America, #1 safety in America. We're going to talk about him a little bit. He is a monstrous safety, 6'3", 2 bills. He could eat a cheesy gordita crunch. He gets 200. Nevada, your thoughts on Fahim Delane? The onslaught of the Tim Walton, Jim Knowles duo continues because this is a monstrous safety.
Yeah, not at the equal sign. You guys have been following Nevada Buck. I give the equal sign when I heard that he or somebody close to him is committed to the Ohio State staff. But I'm hearing an awful lot of people telling me he's going to be a Buckeye, and Ohio State thinks he's going to be a Buckeye, and there's every indication that he's going to be a Buckeye. So this is a guy that I'm getting excited about. Didn't know a lot about him before I started watching his tape, and the more you watch his tape, the more you'll get excited. This is a big-time player in a safety-driven type of defense. He could be the next big thing, and I think Ohio State fans are I think there's going to be an announcement shortly, and if he announces shortly, it's going to be for Ohio State, and that's good news.
I'm going to transition over to his film. Obviously, I mean, good counsel is as good a football as there is in the country. I mean, they are really, really good. If you're a kid in Maryland and you can go to this school, you're going to be in good shape. So, but he's a monstrous player, just a monster. So, um, I'm going to keep going through the super chats as you guys have a little bit of film to watch. Johnny Hall, thank you for the 5. Do you think Day would have already hired James Laurinaitis if there wasn't another coach waiting to be hired? I think he's going to be diligent. Again, like there's no, like James is a guy. He has a job. He's making good money. He's making 200 grand plus and change. So he's in the building. He's learning from Jim Knowles and Matt Giriani every day. He's on the road recruiting. Again, I think that Ryan likes to do a lot of diligence because frankly he whiffed on Parker Fleming. Coaches, the worst thing they can do is hire the wrong guy. And he's got a real opportunity where James has been put on the road as the 10th coach. Do you really want to do it? Do you really want to grind? Do you really want to sit middle row on American flying from Miami to Los Angeles, overnight and then go grind and recruit for 10 hours and then get on another flight and fly to Cincinnati? And again, it's not the beautiful part of coaching. Like coaching on the field, practice, games, awesome. Recruiting when you're flying middle seat across the country, back-to-back nights, not awesome. But James killed it. James is a monster. James is a tough guy. He's a smart guy. He's a guy. He's got a lot of charisma. Again, he's very religious, very faith-based, which is great. So he can play all angles, and he's just a great person. So I mean, he's got all the attributes you'd want. And the biggest thing is James, and this is not an insult on James. James was a very average athlete, but he turned into, he's one of those guys that was an exceptional football player because of his mindset and his mentality and how well he studied, how well he could break down concepts. He's kind of like a mini kind of Luke Kuechly-ish type guy, not the same level of athlete as some Patrick Queen, some of these guys that run 4.3s, they're from LSU and whatever. He's not that kind of guy, but he was more productive because he was smarter and he understood the game more. And I think that translates and makes better coaches. I think that, a guy like, and all the craziness aside, like if a guy's just impossibly better, physically more talented, I don't know if they're as good at teaching people the game as people that really have to think it to be, as productive, and I don't know if that makes sense, but, if a guy's, just really good technically and can understand stuff, like that was like something I did. Like I wasn't great physically. Like, I mean, when I look at some of the guys that played before me, like Orlando Pace and Corey Stringer, even DeWand and Paris, like I'm not in the same universe as those guys physically, but I was an All-American, and it's because I understood the game and I worked really hard. It wasn't because I was blessed with God. And I'm not saying those guys obviously worked tremendously hard, but like a joke, I could do all the post moves in the world, but I'm never going to be Shaq when I'm 6'4". So some guys are just blessed a little bit more to do things. But I think he's just being diligent. Chip Kelly's got some suggestions, and I think that it's going to be up to him. But I think that for the good of the order, I think James needs to be the pick because I think you put him, Hartline, and Tim Walton in the same building recruiting, and oh boy, it is going to be magnificent. Nevada, your thoughts on Day, James Laurinaitis, and potentially another coach getting hired?
Yeah, it's weird that he hasn't moved on James because James is there. James is the known quantity. There've been rumors about Daryl Tapp, getting through the Super Bowl, and sometimes Dave's made kind of references to something that would kind of line up with a Super Bowl timeline. So I'm going to just watch the next 24, 48 hours to see, but this thing's going to wrap up really, really shortly, one way or another. And we'll know, and we'll break it here first for sure.
Absolutely. Philip Pullia, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you, my friend. If Chip is signed for 3 years, does that mean we expect Ryan to stay for at least 3 more years? I would think so. I mean, I think, the job that made me nervous with Ryan was the Patriots, because again, he's from the area. Excuse me. If he would have had the desire to take over New England, a top 3 pick where you could pick a quarterback, you could get Drake May, that made sense to me. But they want Gerard Mayo, which I think is insane. But Ryan stayed here. I just, I don't want to paint myself in a corner. I don't want to jinx anything, but I think Ryan is really dialed in right now in terms of Ohio State, NIL, roster, the cachet of Ohio State. The brand of Ohio State is literally white hot right now. It's so good. So I think that, I think you expect him for 3 years. And now you throw in the fact that his mentor is now his offensive coordinator. Like, I don't know what else you'd want, honestly. RJ's still here. He's going to be a sophomore in high school. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Sophomore, junior, senior, for RJ, his son, who's a quarterback, who's getting recruited. A lot of stuff makes sense. Nevada, your thoughts on Chip Kelly signing a 3-year deal? Does it mean Ryan's here 3 years?
Well, I think with Ryan, first of all, the 3-year thing from Chip Kelly was great because that was 3 is greater than 2, and that pleased me because directionally that's where we want to go. As for Ryan, if you look what has chased out coaches from Ohio State in the past, and it's generally been lack of alignment with the university president, lack of alignment with the athletic director, lack of success. One of those 3 factors was kind of a big thing, or punching a player on the field or something like some crazy thing like that. And with the president that we have, with the athletic director that we have, and with the success that Ryan Day is enjoying, man, I just think you're absolutely right. The danger job was the Patriots job. That was the danger job for a lot of reasons. With that one off the board, at least for now, I mean, Ryan might, the runway might get a little longer for Ryan. And I like I said, I don't want to jinx it, but I hope he stays here for a long time. But it's setting up to work out that way, and that would be great for everybody.
Yeah, and I mean, Gerard Mayo might flame out. And again, like I've said it a million times. You guys that are on the show every night hear me say it. If I'm an NFL owner, the thing I want is a quarterback developer more than anything in the universe. Because if you don't have a quarterback, you have no chance. Like, you look at Andy Reid, QB guy, Kyle Shanahan, QB guy, and they've developed, Brock Purdy's MVP candidate, obviously late round pick, kind of hampers his upside. And then Mahomes is, maybe the best quarterback who's ever lived, from a talent standpoint. Obviously Brady's got the rings, but Mahomes, for what he's done so far in his career, it's pretty stellar. James Lessick, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you, my friend. I hope you are having a great day and a great Super Bowl Sunday. Sean Rawlings, thank you for being a Scoop Ultra member. You're on here every night. Appreciate you as always. Thank you for the 20. If you have a question, toss it in there. And the Goon Squad, Tora and Devin, will get it to me. It's funny because I've got like a little chat going with them on my iPad, and then I've got this going. So our systems are optimizing now, thanks to Tora and Ohio 7715, aka Devin and Akeem, the Dream Team, the Road Warriors. Albie OHIO, thank you for being a Scoop Ultra member. Thank you for another super chat. Thank you for the 10. Shout out to Michael Alvarez and Prima Cucina in the YO. See, that's all you had to do. I'm telling you guys, like, if you guys got a yard service, a plumbing, whatever, shout it out. We're not scared to say it. And again, that's awesome. So if you guys are up in that wonderful corridor of around Youngstown, Warren, Poland, Ohio, check out those 2 places. Again, Youngstown has the greatest food ever. And the best part about Youngstown State football games is that you can bring your own food into the suites. So I would go to those suites, man, and they had the great pizza places. They had Cafe Capri. It was amazing. And they also have a Chick-fil-A, like a guy that's a Chick-fil-A guy that is with Youngstown State, and they would deliver like a big platter of chicken nuggets. And I was like, oh my God, that'd be 7,000 pounds if I was here. You didn't need a crane to get me out of the stadium. But man, those big things of nuggets are good. James Lessick, thank you for the 10. Dr. James Lessick here, dentist in board. Come up to Youngstown to Scoop Show at MVR. Yes, that would be epic. A Scoop Show at MVR, because we could have like a bocce tournament. And I know, like, the thing about, like, when you're in Youngstown, man, when people in Youngstown like pour drinks, they pour like a drink. And I mean, when I go to the Light Club, man, I'm like, God bless, guys. I gotta get home somehow. Like, it's just like, Youngstown is so strong. Like, I just love going up there. I love the people up there. The people are old school. They're real. That's why I love the 49ers, the DeBarlos. I mean, Eddie DeBarlo Jr. has been great to me. Denise DeBarlo York, like, I email her. I was with the 49ers for a couple of years, and it's just, what a great family. And again, Youngstown is old school, old money too. Really good people. Nevada, your thoughts on Youngstown? I love Youngstown.
we find a great Italian restaurant in Youngstown, I'm there, man. Nevada
Oh,
Buck will attend.
there's like 100 of them. I mean, it's like
Yeah,
God bless. It's
well,
so good.
let's find one that we make an invasion and we just go in there and we just
Oh,
dominate it, man. I'm so ready.
you'd love the Lake Club. But David Pinteric, he belongs to Youngstown Country Club, so that's like it's like the Steelers and the Browns basically. They're like kind of rivals, but Youngstown is kind of like the old money, and like Lake Club is like the new money. Is what someone described to me as. But I don't know. Like to me, I don't see expiration dates on money. So money is money to me. But I love the Lake Club and I love Ed Moransky, even though he's a Michigan guy, but he has a really nice pool there. Larry Daniels, the first. Thanks for being a Scoop Ultra member, my friend. Thank you for the 5. With all the talent, how do we keep them all engaged? What level coaches see it first? Do position coaches open door to voice their concerns? Well, I think that these kids all want to play in the league. So, I mean, it's easy to keep these kids that are the good kids engaged. Now, you come mid-season now, there's going to be kids that are thinking portal, they're putting out the feelers. That's the natural progression of football, especially in college in modern times. But, I think that playing time, future, there's a lot of ways to stay engaged. I was always engaged because I wanted to play in the NFL and I wanted to, do the best I could. And I wanted to make sure my biggest fear is that I'd look back and say, man, I wish I'd have done this, or like, man, I left a lot of meat on the bone during my career. I wish I'd have worked harder. But like, I have no regrets. I have no regrets about my NFL career. That wasn't real long, 3 years. My college career, because there wasn't anything I could have possibly done more. I mean, I maximized everything. I worked really hard. So I sleep like a baby at night. But, I think it makes sense to talk to these kids and keep engaged, keep them motivated. But not all kids are motivated. Some kids get up here and they hate football. And you figure that out and then you say, all right, it's time for you to go bye-bye. Nevada, your thoughts on keeping the players engaged?
Well, there's never been a tougher season than this one with Michigan game, 1-2 Big Ten championship game, potentially 3 playoff games. That's what they're pitching to the kids. They're saying we're going to need everybody. It's going to be all hands on deck to navigate this schedule to go and win the prize. And everybody knows. And I think that's how they're approaching it. I think it's smart. I think it's a great tool to get everybody to practice hard during the offseason and to play hard during the regular season. They're going to need the depth. And Ohio State's got depth in abundance, but they're going to need them all to win the national championship because the road's going to be a tough one all the way and going to be a fun ride.
Yeah, I totally agree. Stacey J, thanks for being a Scoop Ultra member. Love the patriotic flag for your AVI, and thank you for the 20. If you have a question, the Goon Squad will get it to me in our chat. I just sent a funny photo to our group chat. Dev, I see you, my man. Potential 5-star OH, Nevada.
I
did it wrong every time. He's got the wrench. He's got the Ultra. He is the best. But yeah, that's why I ran through that, because we've done it in a bunch of shows, but then we just get inundated with really good questions, and it kind of it's fun. Sean Crook, again, thank you for the 5. I'm a diehard Bengals fan. I saw that you spent some time there. Any memories? Yes, I was there at the end of the season in 2008, my rookie year. They wanted me on the active roster. I was with the Dolphins on practice squad. They said, we want to sign you for the active roster. It's funny because they had like 30 guys on injured reserve. Like when you're on injured reserve, they basically, you go from the roster to IR, they call it. And they open up a roster spot for somebody that can actually play. So my first day, my locker is literally between Chad Johnson and TJ Hushmanzada. Because one of the receivers got hurt and they put him on IR, and that was the open locker. The guys on IR, a lot of guys, like, they're not in the town anymore. They go back home. So I don't know who they put on IR, but I was between those two guys, and it was hilarious. I mean, Chad, my first day with the Bengals was actually Black Friday, and I'll never forget, I'm in there at like 5 a.m. because I had to take a physical, and Chad is the only other guy there, and he's blasting 808 and Heartbreak, the new Kanye West album that just came out, and he's got these ridiculous glasses on. I'm going to find the photo tomorrow. Like, he looked like Run DMC or something, and he had this tracksuit on, and I'm like, what is he doing here so early? And he went to Black Friday at like Walmart, and like the manager like let him in front of the people that were like, trying to kill each other for, $100 70-inch TVs or whatever. And he bought like 10 of the $100 70-inch TVs. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. So I'm like, dude, you're a millionaire. Like, what do you, like, these poor people want to buy these like one-of-one items? But when I get you guys offline, I'll tell you some Ocho stories, because Ocho was funny. He was hilarious. But Like that was like Andrew Whitworth was there. Carson Palmer was there. Carson's like one of the greatest guys you could ever meet. He had two. It's funny. He put two German Shepherds up for adoption that were like $50,000 each, fully trained. And like I lived in a little crappy apartment, but I was like gonna take them, but I could have dogs. But I was like, I really want those dogs. But he just had like a baby, and his wife didn't want the two big dogs running around. So, but it was fun. But there were some great players. I mean, Fitzmagic was on that team. Mike Doss was on that team. It was crazy, but we sucked. But it was because Carson was out. Carson was out for the year, and I always talk about quarterbacks, but good organization, good people. I'm happy they're doing well. I root for all the Ohio teams, and I love Sam Hubbard. I'm very tight with Sam Hubbard. One of the greatest kids ever. He's the kind of kid that you want your son to turn into, and he's an awesome kid. So it's real easy to root for the Bengals. Stacey J, thanks for being a Scoop Ultra member. Love the Ohio silhouette with the American flag. That looks awesome. This is great. Burke and Buck. Look, you see what you're doing now. Thanks for the 20, my friend. Love the show. I do disagree about Harbaugh being great, though. He was only 49-22 pre-Connor Stallions. He was added to 0-6 versus the Buckeyes until they started cheating. Only legit win was this year. Nevada, your thoughts. Is Jim Harbaugh elite or is he not?
Uh, that's a tough one. I think he's had elite moments. Let's put it that way. I think when he beat that USC team at Stanford, you have to remember.
Oh my God!
Like that was one of the biggest wins. I mean, I believe they were like a 48-point underdog or something. Somebody's gonna have to go look and pull the number, but it was like one of the biggest dog shots in the history of betting, and so that always made an impact on me. What he did at Stanford, and then he comes to he was circling the drain here. He cheated and they won. So yeah, it's tough. I think he's definitely got a mixed legacy, but if for nothing else, that win over that USC team. That was pretty special, and I'll get the stats on that, exactly how big of an underdog they were in that game. But it was. I mean, the number was huge. The number will be stunning to you when you hear it.
I got you. Okay. So Cade is coming up next. I got to make sure because you guys are giving me feedback, my guys. But yeah, I think that, and again, this will sound completely asinine, and you guys will be like, you're crazy, but that Stanford USC loss, where Stanford beat them in the Coliseum, that is very close to as impressive as Michigan versus Appy State. Now, Appalachian State, with Armani Edwards, I mean, they were a monstrous 1AA team. Like, they won the national championship like every year because they were so good. So, I mean, I think it's literally it might be a tie for most impressive because Stanford was atrocious. And I mean, you're a 49-point dog, and that SC team was loaded. Like Clay Matthews, Clay Matthews Jr., Cushing, Malaluga, and Stanford just was Stanford. So that's one of the all-time ones. And again, I'm not going to say it was bigger than the Appy State one, but it was right on that level because I remember I was talking to Keith Rivers and Sam Baker and all these guys because when I was at the Senior Bowl, I basically was like an adopted USC Trojan because I was the only Ohio State guy down there, and there were like 7 guys from USC on the team I was on. So I hung out with those guys all the time. I was like, how on earth did you guys, with 7 of you on the Senior Bowl and all those good juniors with Cushing and Malaluga, and they had Cedric Ellis, who was like a top 10 pick. How did you guys lose to Stanford? And I was kind of like making fun of him because I was like, that's insane. They said, oh, you lost to Illinois. I'm like, that ain't like losing to Stanford. Illinois went to the Rose Bowl, and they had Rashard Mendenhall, and they had first rounders all over the lot. But again, that is a great question. All right. Alan Dietrich, appreciate you. Thank you for the 555. I don't think I've ever seen that before. That's pretty great. Just got back from Cincy visiting my little dude who's now 23 and 6'6". Just broke his collarbone, is in a sling. Always hurts as a parent. Yeah, it's tough. There's always things that could be worse than a collarbone or a knee or whatever. And that's why I told my wife, like, even though he broke his leg, it's like, it's not a terminal illness. It's something that he'll heal from in 5 weeks. It's just, he's a little grumpy right now because he doesn't know why he's in a sling. But I hope that your son feels better. And again, I know one thing that's for sure is I will never take for granted my kids being able to walk around again because watching my poor little dude basically be immobilized is heartbreaking because all he does is run around and chase his brother and chase our dogs and run around outside. And him not being able to do that is kind of killing me right now. But I know in 5 weeks he'll be ready to roll. Cade Weston, thank you for being a Scoop Ultra member. Thank you for the 20. It looks like Devin, who is Ohio 7715, says you wanted me to shout out his Instagram. You rescue dogs, and for some reason the super chat took it down. So if you could put that in the chat, I'll make sure that we shout that out. Again, appreciate you so much for supporting us. And rescuing dogs is one of the most noble activities you can do, because I'm telling you, there's nothing like great dogs in Nevada. I know that your family is huge into rescuing dogs, and you've got dogs. You know, again, it's funny. Like you hear our kids, my kids screaming in the background. You hear his dogs barking in the background. But that's just kind of what we are. But your thoughts on that, Nevada? Rescuing dogs is a great thing to do.
Yeah, I've got 4 old ones, and we're they're on the last legs, and I'm getting sad. And my wife goes by, and I'm on Instagram, and I watch all these dog videos on Instagram. And so she's like, "Are you watching dog videos again on Instagram?" And I'm like, "I can't help it. Like I see these rescues, and it just breaks my heart." So yeah, rescue dog. That's right up there with Ohio State football for me, for sure.
No, well, there's our boy, Tora Akeem the Dream. He has the Scoop Ultra. He's got the wrench. Kirk, what's the 4-1? My brother say golden and stay strapped up. We always do. You know that, brother. Respect to you, Nevada Buck, all the Buckeye Scoop family in the chat. Appreciate you guys kicking it in the chat. Much love to you, your brother Tora. I'm with Buckeye Scoop till the end. Shout out to my brother Devin, aka Ohio 7715. I know you guys are the Bash Brothers now, man. You guys are on there keeping it clean, keeping it fun. What additions you guys have been to the chat. Tora works tirelessly to make sure you guys are having a blast on the chat, while Nevada and I are holding it down on the mic. So again, Akeem, you're the man, and I talk to you probably more than anybody outside of Nevada on this earth. So I appreciate you, brother. Charles Prentice, thank you for the deuce. Can't wait for the Super Bowl. Usher is going to kill it. I like the Super Bowl. Even if I don't care about who's playing, like it's just fun to you sit there with your old lady and your friends, and it's the only thing where we actually watch the commercials because you want to see what's funny this year, what's edgy. I hope the game's good, and I'm sure Usher will do good. I mean, he's a big residency in Vegas right now, so it'll be fun. Like I'm excited. I love watching the Super Bowl. I'm gonna get a ton of food from Buffalo Wild Wings. I cannot wait for that. Shout out to B-Dubs taking care of me. And, this is the biggest day of the year for all these types of things. So make sure you guys take care of our B-Dubs folks. Nevada, your thoughts on the Super Bowl? Any picks, and do you enjoy watching it?
Love watching it. I've got about 50 proposition bets going on it. So everything from coin toss to does Brock Purdy throw an interception to the Travis Kelce proposal to Taylor Swift. So I got it all. I got it all covered before game, pre-game, during game. So anything that's going on, Nevada's got a wager on it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And again, with the sports gambling, I mean, these sports books have to be loving life right now because there's going to be so much action on the game. OSU Bucks 08, thank you for the 10. Appreciate you being on here with us today on this wonderful Sunday. Do you guys think Day is getting a bit greedy, thinking James can still be a GA for one more season? That's a great question. Maybe thinking of trial running Mallow from UCLA. If Mallow is good, he's the new D-line coach after LJ. Crossed my mind. I'm not going to lie. I mean, James is getting paid substantial money. You have to remember Zach Smith made $150 in 2012. When I was a GA in 2012, I made 17 grand. And again, I'm fine with that. I didn't care because I was in the NFL. I had money. James has been in the NFL. He's got money. But I think that he's itching to start running his own room and having he's already kind of the linebackers coach, but to have the actual title and start building your resume is important because when you're a GA, you don't really have a room. You don't write your name to a position group like you do when you're actually the coach there. So I think James is getting anxious for that. So it'll be fascinating. The next week will be very interesting. And I hope you guys are on BuckeyesScoop.com because we're going to be all over this. Nevada, do you think Ryan is getting a little greedy? Think he can keep James as a GA for the like he's using the fact that he's in Ohio, he's from Ohio, he went here, his wife's from here. Is he using that against James?
I just think it's just a fact. It is what it is. And I think, Ryan wants to get the best room possible, and he's going to push the envelope. And we'll see how. I don't know. None of us can know how this is going to turn out, so I'm not even want to make a prediction on that. But it's a factor. It's definitely crossed my mind as well.
So I just hope it gets done because James deserves it, and I think it'll be dynamic. Let's go. No regrets. Thank you for being an ultra member, my friend, and also thank you for the 5. Caleb Downs talked about what makes a good DB was seeing his keys and quickly diagnosing what he sees in front of him. Can you explain DB keys? This is a fantastic question. And there's some very basic stuff. Obviously it depends on what your responsibility is, what the coverage is. Are you playing single high safety, which is like a cover 3 or cover 1? Are you in 2 high? Where are the receivers at? Are you on the short side of the field? Like if you're on the hash and you're on the short side of the bench, the short side of the field, versus you've got the wide side of the field. I think that a lot of safeties, honestly, look at offensive tackles when the play starts, just to see what he does. Because if the tackle pops up and his like a high hat, like he gets up, his pass blocking, then it's pass, right away. But if he's down and he's run blocking, then you got to go fit your gap. So I think that's usually where you start as you look at the tackles and see what they do. And then from there, you just kind of diagnose the plays, the schemes, the splits. There's just a lot of stuff that you can study. And studying is everything in football. If you study what guys are going to do and you can get a read on what they're going to do, then it makes your life a million times easier. It's like playing poker and figuring out tells and bluffs and everything else. Like if you're sitting at the table, if you get good at that stuff, then all of a sudden it's a huge advantage to you. And Caleb, again, it's not an accident that Caleb is a student of the game when his dad was a fantastic NFL player. Obviously, you last as long as Gary Downs played in the league, then you've got a lot. He's got a lot of information. He's got a lot of stuff that he can pour into Caleb. And again, Caleb doesn't act like an 18-year-old. He acts like a 25-year-old Pro Bowl NFL safety. And I think that's what he's going to end up being in a few years. So enjoy him while he's here. But that's just some of the tells. Again, it really depends on your responsibilities. But you can look at splits of the receivers. There's just a million things you can get into. But one thing that a lot of them look at is what does the tackle do as soon as the ball snapped? And again, when I was at coaching tackles and I played tackle, the first thing I looked at is where are the safeties at? Because the safeties tell you everything that's going to happen. If the safeties are over the slot receiver and there's a guy covering the slot, there's a really high chance that the slot guy's going to blitz because that safety can take the slot guy man to man. So, and I'll draw that up. Again, we're getting a little short on time because of the Super Bowl, but yeah, I'll go through some of that X's and O stuff because it's easy to understand once you see it in action. And I'll do that for you guys. Cade Weston, thank you for the deuce. Nevada, 41 points. Did you go under or over? I assume you went over, right?
Yeah, I'm going over, but that's kind of the square bet. The smart guys it was not that. I don't think that number's right, but I'm definitely betting over. But the referee is an under referee. He's like 93 and 61 in under games, and don't think that's not a factor. So I'm a little concerned about my. I'm betting the over, but I'm a little concerned I might be on the wrong side.
I got you. Bullet Train, thank you for the 20. Ice cream for the little one. Yeah, we got him a ton of popsicles. Like he's got, because this is why I love my wife. Is I was like, what kind of popsicles you get? Get thin ones, get ones that are, easy for him to hold, chew. So he's got a bunch of healthy popsicles and a lot of ice cream and whatever. So it's he's living good. I'm sure you guys probably hear him squalling in the background because he's, again, he doesn't know why his leg's in a cast and why he can't move. So I'd be angry too. But away we go. About 5 weeks of this, so he'll be getting healthy real soon. Nevada, I think we can wrap this thing up. Appreciate you guys. If people are starting to get ready, Super Bowl's about an hour away from kick. Your thoughts, Nevada?
I just want to give a shout out to my 20-year-old son. Birthday today, turning 20 today. So, Ty, we love you. Happy birthday, and looking forward to many more years. You're my buddy, and that's all I wanted to say.
Shout out to our dude, the big bad wrestler, Brock Lesnar, my boy Tyler. So appreciate you, brother. All right. Hope you guys have a great Super Bowl Sunday. Thank you guys for kicking it with us all day. Got about an hour before kick, so you guys can go get what you want to eat ready to go. Go get some carry out, whatever you guys need to do. Appreciate you guys so much as always. If you guys could leave us a like on the way out the door, that would be huge. Also, click the subscribe button. Send this to your friends, your colleagues, whoever loves Ohio State football. And also, again, if you guys love these live shows, make sure you click the little alert bell. You'll get an alert every time we go live. It is so fun to see you guys all in here forever. But I just appreciate you guys so much. Again, this has been an incredible run for our show. Thank you guys again for everything you guys do. This is a huge show because you guys make it one, not me, not Nevada, because of you guys. So we thank you guys so much. We have a huge thread on BuckeyeScoop.com. If you guys are not members of BuckeyeScoop.com, you guys should jump in because it is crazy on there right now with the amount of information we're breaking. The accuracy is crazy and the sources are crazy, and you guys need to benefit from it because everything is always put on BuckeyeScoop.com first. So if you guys want it first, BuckeyesScoop.com is where you guys need to head to. So thank you guys so much. I hope you guys have a great Super Bowl Sunday with your friends, family, whoever you're watching the game with. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it's a great game. Got one last super chat in here. Cade, I appreciate you, brother. Yeah, 41-point dogs versus SC. Yeah, it was absolutely crazy. But thank you for pointing that out, Cade. Again, I appreciate you so much. But yeah, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation, and thank you, Scoop family. I'm going to catch you all tomorrow back at 7 p.m. We'll be ready to rock. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Go Bucks.